For over a decade, the September Apple event has been the anchor of the tech calendar. You tune in, see the new iPhone lineup, and choose your tier. But this year, that predictable calendar is being split right down the middle. When fall 2026 rolls around, Apple removes the standard iPhones from the September lineup entirely. Looking at this timeline flowchart, Apple's new biannual schedule separates into two distinct tracks. The fall launch exclusively features ultra-premium devices, the Pro, Pro Max, and a new foldable. The standard models are pushed to spring 2027. In markets like China, competitors have moved their major flagship launches to the first half of the year, right as the industry is facing a global shortage of memory components. Apple is adopting this staggered schedule to close that marketing gap and manage the rising costs of those parts. For the average consumer looking to upgrade an aging phone during the 2026 holiday season, this creates an immediate problem. Your usual default option simply won't exist. You are left with an ultimatum. Pay a heavy premium, well over $1,000 to get new technology in the fall, or endure a 6 to 8 month waiting period with your current device to buy the standard model. Because this launch schedule is so unusual, the rumor cycle surrounding the new iPhone 18 lineup has become incredibly chaotic, creating a lot of unnecessary anxiety for buyers trying to plan ahead. You may have seen a viral TikTok animation claiming that the iPhone 18 is going to drop the USB-C port and replace it with a MacBook-style magnetic MagSafe connector. That is a complete fabrication based on confusing Apple's wireless charging with its laptop hardware. The European Union regulations legally mandate that USB-C remains the universal standard for all smartphones sold in their territory. Apple is not going to abandon that standard. Making a sound financial decision about your next phone means ignoring social media wishcasting and focusing strictly on the verified supply chain realities dictating these devices. If you need a phone in fall 2026, the traditional fallback is the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max. These devices will be powered by the A20 Pro Chip, manufactured using TSMC's brand new 2nm process. They also utilize a new memory packaging technology called WMCM, which integrates RAM directly onto the chip wafer. In practical terms, this combination delivers 15% faster processing speeds and a 30% increase in power efficiency over the previous generation. The largest hardware upgrade is happening on the back of the phone. Apple is introducing a variable aperture to the 48-megapixel main camera lens. Instead of relying purely on software tricks, a variable aperture physically adjusts to control how much light hits the sensor. This gives you significantly cleaner low-light photos and the ability to capture natural depth of field without using portrait mode. Inside, Apple is integrating its new C2 modem. This hardware enables 5G web browsing directly via satellite, allowing you to access the internet even when you are entirely out of range of cellular towers or Wi-Fi. This side profile comparison chart illustrates the physical trade-offs required to house these features and a massive 5,200 mAh battery. The iPhone 18 Pro Max pushes out to a 13.77mm thick camera plateau and weighs in at a heavy 240 grams. The Pro models deliver the peak of Apple's mobile performance, but they demand a steep Pro tax at checkout and force you to carry one of the thickest, heaviest devices on the market. Then there is the wild card of the fall lineup, Apple's very first foldable device, which supply chain leaks are currently dubbing the iPhone Ultra. This visual breaks down the screen dimensions of the book-style design. When unfolded, you get an internal 7.8-inch display with a 4:3 aspect ratio, placing it squarely between a standard iPhone and an iPad mini. The utility here is straightforward. You are getting near tablet levels of reading and document productivity in a device that still folds up and fits in your pocket. The barrier to entry is the price. Expect this device to start at a minimum of $1,999. To create an ultra-thin chassis that accommodates the complex folding hinge, Apple had to make extreme engineering regressions. Specifically, the device loses Face ID and all telephoto lenses. Biometric security reverts back to a Touch ID sensor built into the side power button, and optical zoom is completely gone. Because the fold requires a segmented, non-traditional back, you also lose the standard glass rear panel, which will severely limit how MagSafe wireless charging functions. At $2,000, the Fold is an expensive beta test. You are trading proven, essential camera and security hardware purely to maximize your screen real estate. This brings us to the delayed release of the standard iPhone 18 in spring of 2027. Apple is holding this device back so they can standardize its internal parts with the budget-tier iPhone 18e, which eases bottlenecks in their supply chain. While this leaves everyday consumers without a sub-$1,000 upgrade option during the holidays, the delay actually serves a major purpose. This bar chart shows the exact payoff for waiting. Previous base models like the iPhone 15 and 16 maxed out at 8 GB of RAM. The base iPhone 18 will launch with 12 GB. That extra memory is the absolute minimum requirement to flawlessly run future, more demanding iterations of on-device Apple Intelligence. The delayed timeline tests your patience, but holding out for that 12 GB base model is the only way to ensure your phone handles the next 5 years of software updates without paying a massive premium markup. Apple's ecosystem maps to 3 paths. For high-end optics, buy the heavy 18 Pro Max. For productivity, buy the $2,000 Fold, sacrificing Face ID and Zoom. For AI longevity under $1,000, wait for the 12 GB Spring 2027 base model. Navigating this fractured timeline requires a choice between immediate performance or long-term value. Your upgrade success depends on matching your specific hardware needs to the release window that actually delivers them.